This story was sent to me by Attila Q, and you're probably looking at this woman wondering who in the world is she? Well, she has a connection to Ian David Long, who we all know was the shooter at the California club at Thousand Oaks. The connection she has to him is that she used to be his track coach back in 2007 and 2008. And she basically was saying that there were so many warning signs that she gave to people about this man's behavior, even back then, saying basically he was a loose cannon. But of course, it fell on deaf ears and nobody really took her claim seriously. This reminds me of the story that I did recently about the black woman who was saying things about Caesar Sayoc, saying that he was making threats to her on Twitter, and she told the people at Twitter that this guy's making threats to me. And she said that 2 weeks before he started sending out those pipe bombs, and no one believed her. So this is like the same kind of case. The only difference between the two is that with Caesar Sayoc, nobody was killed or injured. With this one, people were killed and or injured. Let me go ahead and read this article coming from the Atlanta Black Star. A second high school coach of the gunman who killed 12 people at a Southern California bar recalled him on Sunday as volatile and intimidating, and said that repeated complaints to school administrators about his behavior failed to prompt any discipline. Evie Kluk coached Ian David Long on Newbury Park High School's track team in 2007 and 2008. In an interview with the Associated Press, she said Long was a ticking time bomb who constantly lost his temper, threw tantrums, and would scream at coaches when he didn't like their decisions. So he was one of them spoiled brats. She said she once witnessed him assault a fellow coach. That coach, Dominique Colell, said Long grabbed her rear end midsection after she refused to return a cell phone. Another time he used his hand to mimic shooting her, Colell said, adding that she feared for herself whenever she was around him. Kluk says she also witnessed Long pretending to shoot Colell. When Dominique turned around and saw that, she turned pale as a ghost, and it was very, very scary. Just sadistic, he was out of control. He would scream and cuss, and his face would turn bright red, and people would actually back away from him. Long, a 28-year-old former Marine. Hold on, before I even go any further, knowing all of this, his ass shouldn't have even been qualified to go to the military. So they pretty much opened the doors and allowed this guy who has a very violent streak to get into the military. That's also going to cast a shadow on the military of them just letting any and everybody in. But let me continue. Long, a 28-year-old former Marine machine gunner who served in Afghanistan, opened fire during college night at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks on Wednesday night. He killed 11 people and a police officer who responded, and then fatally shot himself. Authorities have not determined a motive. Colell kicked Long off the track team immediately after he assaulted her, but she and Kluk said the boys' track coach urged her to reconsider because that could compromise Long's goal of joining the Marines. See, there it is right there. There it is. That whole we need to think of their future standpoint. They are the only group of people that can get that. The head track coach, Kluk, said reversed Colell's decision to throw Long off the team and told her she didn't have that authority, while the now retired principal brushed it aside as a one-time incident. Long rejoined the team after apologizing in front of several coaches and administrators. So that's all it took for him to get back on, was to simply apologize. See, they only cared about the well-being of him, but didn't care that this guy assaulted this other coach physically, verbally, most likely, and was making gestures toward that person like they were going to kill them. And look at what it led to: him actually picking up a real gun and shooting and killing 11 people. Long rejoined the team. Oh, I read that part already. Kluk says she, Colell, and her father, also a track coach at the school at the time, repeatedly reported Long's behavioral problems to no avail. You need to do something about this kid. He needs some help, Kluk says she told administrators. And they're like, well, he's got a good heart. He'll be fine. Just talk to him. Emails to various administrators at the high school were not immediately answered Sunday. Attempts to get comment by phone and in person from officials at the school and its district were unsuccessful Friday, when both were closed because of a massive deadly wildfire in the area. Kluk recalled a time when she and her father sat down with Long for a talk and asked him why he wanted to join the military. His answer, she said, is burned in my soul. He said he wanted to be in the Marines because he wanted to go fight in the war for our country, and he wanted to kill for our country. She said, when you hear somebody say they want to be in the military because they want to kill people in the name of our country, that's chilling. It chilled me right down to my bones. She said it's time for school administrators across the country to take behavioral problems seriously. It's not the military or video games or music causing this. It's the inaction of people in authority. She said that if other coaches and school administrators had acted following complaints about Long, he would have gotten help and 12 innocent people wouldn't be dead now. The warning signs were there. Like I said, you know what? Everything she said was correct. A lot, like, the signs were there. They were visibly there, but those administrators, as usual in many cases like this, turned a blind eye. They wanted to pretend like this stuff was not happening. In their head, he was a good kid. And the only reason they said that is because they probably needed him to maybe win some track meets or a championship. That's the only reason. If he was a terrible athlete, they would have buckled down and they would have took care of that problem ASAP. But because they probably saw him as this big star, or he may have been a popular person in the school, and they said we need something about joining the Marines, it's just... And he said because he wanted to kill for the country. You know, the irony of that is, he said he wanted to kill for the country, and he ended up coming back to the same country he's called killed for, which they need to look into his body count while he was overseas, while he was enlisted, and then came back and killed the people in the establishment that he was supposed to be killing for. And let me just tell you right now, if he did not kill anybody while he was deployed, he killed those people in that bar that night, and I'm almost guaranteeing when I say this, because he had a thrill to kill and wasn't able to while he was deployed. So he took it out on them. He said, you know what, I'm gonna kill myself today, but before I go, I'm going to live out my fantasy, and I'm going to pretend that the people that I'm killing tonight are the ones that I was supposed to kill when I was overseas. Now, I can't remember if he was discharged or not. I think I read somewhere that he was. Usually when someone gets discharged like that, there's already an issue with them, an already growing issue with them. This is also another reason why some people don't want to join the military. It's not for some of the reasons that the most popular ones that people will talk about, but it's because they don't want to be around crazy people like this guy. Because he is like she said, a ticking time bomb. This guy could easily do something that could affect his entire platoon. All it takes is one. And he could have did something, and it would have put his entire platoon in danger. I'm almost certain of it. I would like to see if they can dig up something about him and why he was discharged, because that could say a lot of stuff right there. If this is coming out of his track coach's mouth, and it sounds awfully honest, I believe what she's saying, especially since her dad had an encounter with him and another coach had numerous encounters with him. It lets me know right then and there that this guy is off the chain in more ways than one. Or was, I should say. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.